Shalom, shalom. Wanted to talk to y'all real quick about something that can hopefully um, help some of y'all out with y'all's worries, anxieties, or tensions, and help to put them at ease, so to speak. So, you will never be able to mess up or miss out on something that wasn't meant for you in the first place. You cannot miss a blessing or miss something that was meant for you, right? Maybe it can be postponed for a little bit so that you can get yourself in order, right? Maybe it's because you're supposed to be doing something according to the word and you're not doing it, and your blessing kind of gets put off for a little bit longer. It doesn't get there as quick as you expected, right? But you are never going to miss something that the Most High meant for you, right? That's like saying that you're more powerful than the Most High, basically, right? Proverbs 20 and 24 says, man's goings are of Yahweh. How then can a man understand his own way, right? All of your goings, all the things you do, all the situations you get into and get out of, they are all of Yahweh B'Ashem Yahweh Shai, right? So stop thinking something or someone is meant for you or is for you, something is for you, when the Most High keeps pulling you away from it or pulling you away from them, right? Now, like I said, maybe you need to get yourself in order and correct something you're going off on in order for that to come to pass. But either way, everything is going to be in Yahweh's time. It's not going to be in your time, and it's not going to be in my time, right? So if you don't end up getting what you wanted, in the end, it's just because they weren't meant for you, right? Those things or those people were not meant for you, plain and simple. Proverbs 16 and 9 says, a man's heart deviseth his way, but Yahweh directeth his steps, right? Our hearts, which is our mind, according to the word, because Proverbs 23 and 7 says, for as he thinketh in his heart, so is he. So our mind is constantly devising our way, right? In other words, we're always thinking up plans in our heads, right? Like, I'm going to do this, and I'm going to go here, and I'm going to get this job, and I'm going to live here, and I'm going to be with this person, right? But no matter how many plans we make, Yahweh is the one who is going to direct our steps, right? He's going to guide our path, and he's going to put us in the position with the people in the places that he wants, right? He's going to put us on the path that he wants according to his will. So when you're sincere in this truth, you're going to see real quick that you're going to lose some so-called friends and family, right? So just remember that it all happens for a reason. Ecclesiastes 3 tells you that there's a season and a time to every purpose under the heaven, right? There's a time to get friends and family, and there's a time to lose them, right? There's a time to embrace them, and there's a time to refrain from embracing them. There's a time to lose and a time to get. But man's goings are of the Most High. So if someone, for example, burns a bridge with you, right? And all you were trying to do was follow the word. All you were trying to do was help them to follow the word. You're trying to help their soul, right? Then never feel bad about how things turn out. And never feel like you owe them anything. Because in the end, it was all of the Most High, right? Everything happens according to his will. So sometimes people will cut you off without even trying to understand you, without even trying to understand your situation, because they've already made it up in their minds what they want, right? Or what they want to think, right? If you've done nothing but try to help them, then remember Ecclesiastes 3 and 7 says that there's a time to keep silence too, right? There's a time to keep silence, man. There's a time that you don't have to explain nothing to nobody. If somebody burns a bridge with you, like I said, for example, just understand that the Most High either made that happen to protect you from them or to protect you from a situation you could end up in, or maybe it was so that you or they could get tested, or maybe it was so that you or they can get in order, right? See, because people burn bridges every day, right? Especially burning bridges that they shouldn't. They get upset, or they get in a certain spirit, or they get emotional, and they cut off people. Then they realize that they shouldn't have, right? At that point, it becomes another test to see whether they're going to put that pride aside and try to rebuild that bridge, or if they're going to continue in it and suffer the consequences, right? Then looking at it from the first person perspective, that could be a test for us too, if that happens to you, right? To see if you're going to go out of your way and stop following the word to try and get that person or that situation back, right? So just always, always, always keep in mind that the Most High is in control of everything and everybody. And sometimes you don't have to feel the need to explain or justify yourself to anybody if they've already made up their minds as to what to believe, right? And that comes with discernment, right? Which is why discernment is such a beautiful blessing to have. And the perfect example of this is in Matthew 27, right? Where Yahushua was accused of the priests, the chief priests, and the elders, right? And what did he say? He didn't answer anything, right? And then Pilate, right? Pontius Pilate said to him, he said, hey man, don't you hear how many things these people are witnessing against you? And what did he say? It says he answered him not a word. Why didn't he answer them anything, right? When his own people were accusing him and lying on him, right? Why didn't he try to defend himself? Was it because he was guilty? Of course not, right? We know he wasn't guilty, but it was because he knew that everything was going according to the Most High's plan, and everything is controlled by Yahweh, right? It's according to his will. He knew that there's a time to keep silent, right? He knew that he wasn't going to change their minds no matter what he said, right? Now, I'm not saying none of us are Yahushua, but I'm saying that's a beautiful example that shows that there's sometimes you just got to know when to hold your tongue, man, right? So he answered them not a word, and he just said that the Most High's will be done, right? So use discernment in certain situations, because a lot of times you don't have to say anything. You don't have to explain yourself. All you got to do is sit back and listen and see what's going on in the situation, and that's going to give you all the information that you need through discernment, right? You just got to learn, like Proverbs 29:11 says, a fool uttereth all his mind, but a wise man keepeth it in until afterwards. Sometimes it's best to just let bygones be bygones, keep your mouth shut, save your spiritual energy, and let people do what they want to do, right? Let them burn whatever bridge they want to burn, and let them think whatever they want to think. Because a lot of times you got to realize that they don't care what you're going to say. The spirit on them is just trying to get you out of the spirit too. They're feeling so spiritually drained that they want to make you feel drained as well, right? So the spirit on them is just trying to get that reaction out of you. So it's better to just not give into it and just let Yahweh's will be done, right? And if it's his will that y'all rebuild that bridge, that those people come back into your life, well then so be it. And if not, then just let the ashes be taken away with the wind from that bridge that was burned, and stop worrying about it, right? So Proverbs 16:9 and Proverbs 20:24, always keep it in mind, man. So I'm going to finish with a short Chinese parable that I came across actually just recently. And now don't think I study other philosophies or other proverbs, books, stuff like that, right? I don't. But this is just something that I came across inadvertently on Instagram, and it fit perfectly in with this little short lesson. And like I just explained, right, that too was of the Most High for y'all's and my own edification, right? So it's called The Story of the Chinese Farmer. So it says, once upon a time, there was a Chinese farmer who lost a horse. It ran away. And all the neighbors came around that evening and said, that's too bad. And he said, maybe. The next day, the horse came back and brought 7 wild horses with him. And all the neighbors came around and said, wow, that's great, isn't it? And he said, maybe. The next day, his son was attempting to tame one of these horses while riding it, and was thrown off of it and broke his leg. And all the neighbors came around in the evening and said, well, that's too bad, isn't it? And the farmer said, maybe. The next day, the conscription officers came around looking for people for the army, and they rejected his son because he had a broken leg. And the neighbors came around in the evening and said, "Isn't that wonderful?" Right? So the moral of the story is this, right? Psalm 65:5 says, "By terrible things in righteousness will thou answer us, O God of our salvation." So sometimes the Most High answers us with things or situations that may seem terrible at the moment, right? Things or situations that happen with people or at places with things, and in the beginning or at the moment it seems terrible, right? But it's so that it can lead you to righteousness down the road, right? Like Psalm 119:71 says, "It is good for me that I have been afflicted, that I might learn thy statutes." Sometimes the Most High has to afflict you so that you can truly learn how to follow his word, or so that you can just give up on it, right? Because we're all either vessels made to honor or vessels made to dishonor. So just remember that Proverbs 20:24, man's goings are the Most High. Proverbs 16:9, you are going to devise your own way in your heart, but the Most High is going to direct your steps and your path, right? So all praise to the Most High, Yahweh B'Shem HaMashiach Yahweh Shai. Either way, whichever way it turns out. And remember that everything you go through is for his will and his purpose, not our own, right? So shalom.